Good afternoon. Welcome to RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. You're looking live at the West Wing of the White House as we get ready to see our president, President Donald Trump, greeting the president of Finland, Alexander Stubb. We'll get into some details about this meeting, according to Reuters and other publications like Bloomberg, in regards to what this meeting will be all about. Obviously, this is day 9 of the Democrat shutdown as well. And just moments ago, Rapid Response 47, talking about what Hakeem Jeffries is saying out there on Capitol Hill, says Democrats are completely aligned with Chuck Schumer's disgusting claim that every day gets better the longer Democrats keep the government shut down. Another sick betrayal of Americans. That, according to Rapid Response 47. So we see that on X. Also, we do see a number of other stories as well. So we're monitoring a lot right now, but let's go with the fact that Reuters is saying the two leaders, the Finnish leader and our leader, will soon sign an icebreaker pact at the White House. The United States to acquire up to 11 Arctic security cutters, 4 from shipyards in Finland. The first icebreaker delivery expected by 2028. So U.S. President Donald Trump and Finnish counterpart Alexander Stubb meeting today, of course, at the White House to sign that pact for the U.S. Coast Guard to buy up to 4 icebreaker ships from Finnish shipyards, the White House and Stubb said, this according to Reuters. Trump and Stubb have established friendly ties since Trump regained power in January, and the two met in March at the president's Mar-a-Lago club in Florida and played a round of golf. So we'll be seeing the Finnish leader pull up there any minute from now, scheduled for about 3 o'clock. And then we'll monitor any live feeds that we may or may not get from inside the Oval Office with the two leaders. And if it's something that's a delayed replay that's much later in the day, I believe we'll be able to somehow get that and be able to post that for you as well, as we are a live desk, as Robert so perfectly puts it, when it comes to live events that we cover here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. In the meantime, we're monitoring, as you might have heard from the first broadcast today, the latest out of the Middle East as a peace plan between Israel and Hamas, which was orchestrated by President Trump and the team, has entered its first phase. So as we learned from the president just yesterday, the first phase of the Israel-Gaza peace plan has taken shape. Part of that plan, we're told, was for Hamas to release the remaining hostages. We're hearing that this is going to happen now on Monday. That, according to a phone call that we heard just as long as the country and the world did as well, because yesterday there was a video that was posted by Dan Scavino Jr. about the president letting the families know that the hostages will be released. We have that video. We'll get to that in just a minute. And then also, of course, we'll get into some details about the Democrat shutdown, the Schumer government shutdown, and some of the things that are being said by people that are affected by this out there, everything from law enforcement to the ATC when it comes to air traffic control and others that are dealing with not getting a paycheck for the work that they're doing. And this is, again, thanks to the Democrat shutdown. We covered a lot of topics in that first broadcast. If you missed it, after this one, if you'd like to replay that one, if you're really wanting to stay fresh on what's going on out there, a lot of news topics were discussed at that broadcast. Of course, that was for the president's 8th cabinet meeting that he had in the cabinet room of this second administration with all of the department leaders there. So we saw that live here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. So let's go to the video, though, from last night where the president spoke with a number of the families of the hostages, and just check out this great moment.
They want to say something. Is that right? All right, hold on. President Trump, you have the best crowd in the world. What do you guys have to say to President Trump?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
You did it!
You did it! Thank you! Thank you!
This is amazing.
Mr. President, we believe in you. We know you've done so much for us over the past, since you became a president, and even before that. And we trust you fulfill the mission until every hostage, every 48 of the hostages are home. Thank you so much.
God-
Blessed be the peacemakers.
God bless you, Mr. President. God bless America.
Thank you very much. You just take care of yourselves. The hostages will come back. They're all coming back on Monday.
All
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So long. Goodbye.
The joy in that room in the White House there is tangible, and a great moment there. And we'll monitor the latest as we get it here at the network. Meantime, today is day 9 of the Democrat government shutdown, aka the Schumer shutdown. We're monitoring the latest on that front as well, as the Democrats, of course, drag their feet, hoping President Trump's agenda, which a majority of the country voted for, they're hoping that everything can be delayed and distracted to just simply make America great again. Well, Carolyn Levitt on X posted the following, quote, while federal workers stress over missed paychecks, military families turn to food pantries, and airports around the country face delays, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are bragging that, quote, every day gets better for them. What a disgusting and revealing statement, Carolyn says. Democrats are gleeful about inflicting pain on the American people. But as we enter the second week of the standoff, Democrats are nowhere close to buckling. In fact, top Democrats feel like they're gaining political momentum. So Carolyn's saying, we interviewed Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer on Wednesday in his Capitol office, where the New York Democrat was as bullish as he's ever been about his shutdown strategy. Sticking to that quote, every day gets better for us, Schumer asserted. Well, the White House also put out a press release for anybody, whether it's the fake news or whether it's conservative media or whoever. And they said that Chuck Schumer's disgusting claim that every day gets better is a sickening display of elitist indifference as the Democrat shutdown plunges hardworking Americans into anxiety, despair, and financial ruin. His arrogance lays bare the Democrats' sick betrayal of service members, missing paychecks, families turning to food pantries to survive, small businesses teetering on the brink, and travelers facing excruciating delays. So there's some quotes that we have from people that are being affected by this. I'm going to read a couple of these quotes to you. This is from the White House, just released within the past couple hours. Democrats, of course, according to the White House here, it says, should listen to the Americans across the country paying the price for their political games. So one of them, a military spouse whose family is in crisis, as service members go without pay, here's the quote, definitely terrifying, thinking in my head, oh God, how are we going to pay for our bills? How are we going to afford our rent? How are we going to pay for her formula, her diapers, everything? Our military, they're the ones that signed the government contract to go fight for our country, but our lawmakers who are supposed to be in charge of our country, they aren't really doing what's best for the American people, end quote. How about from an air traffic controller who is asked to fulfill their critical job responsibilities without the certainty of their next paycheck? And I quote, the financial anxiety doesn't just hurt morale, it directly affects safety. When someone responsible for thousands of lives a day is worrying about whether they can pay rent or feed their kids, their focus suffers. Sometimes that small moment where your mind is elsewhere can have serious impacts. Controllers were already underwater with pay and staffing before the shutdown. Now we're drowning, end quote. Again, this is from the White House, a release that was sent out about 2 hours ago. People that are dealing with the effect of this Democrat shutdown. A small business owner, we're told, who has already laid off 5 of his 80 employees after the Democrat shutdown triggered a stop work order on one of his projects, said, quote, that's a very scary place to be in as an entrepreneur, end quote. We'll move on for a number of these quotes here in just a second, as you're seeing some activity right outside of the West Wing. Again, the Finnish president, the Finland president, Alexander Stubb, to meet with President Trump any minute from now. We're about 5 minutes to the top of the hour. That's when the scheduled meeting is set to take place, and we'll take you there live as soon as we see that happen. And then usually, as you guys know, we get access to the Oval Office for the meeting, which is usually it's a bilateral meeting, and then the president takes questions. Sometimes it's listed on the president's public schedule as open press, which means it's open. We can see what's going on, everything's there. Sometimes it's closed press. Today's listing is closed press for inside the Oval Office. Will that change? It has before. We'll see. We'll monitor it. But this is open, this side of it, to see the two meet and greet. And then if things open up there for the inside, we'll stand by here live and give it some time to see if that'll happen. If for some reason it's a tape delay where it was recorded, not live, and we are here for that, we'll be able to post that on our various social media platforms. Speaking of social media platforms, thank you guys so much for following us on all of them out there. Really good to see those numbers just keep increasing, because you guys, we all want people that are on the right side of history when it comes to reporting what's going on out there and giving you that truth and transparency, which you see right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network and within conservative media as a whole. So let's go back to some of the statements that we're hearing from the White House when it comes to this day 9 of the Democrat shutdown. A federal contractor whose ability to provide for her family is in jeopardy as she stares down a loss of income. Stop this, she says. Stop messing with people. We have families who depend on us. I don't know how I'm going to feed my kids or pay my mortgage, end quote. How about a hair salon owner whose livelihood depends on business from the large number of federal employees in the area? She says, whether I have clients or not, I still have to pay for the business. More people have been calling to reschedule or having to cancel their appointments because they don't know if they're going to get paid. And if we don't get clients, we don't get paid, end quote. Let's move on to a TSA agent who is expected to work without knowing when his next paycheck will come. Quote, federal employees are feeling like pawns right now in the middle of a game, end quote. And finally, a tourist whose trip to the nation's capital is dashed by the closures of the iconic government attractions. He says, or this tourist says, I'm really frustrated. I don't see there's any reason for it. I mean, the demolition of the core values of our society, it's devastating, it's sad, end quote. So obviously we see people are affected. We see those quotes directly from the White House sent out in a press release to the media. I can guarantee you that the mainstream news won't be reading those to anybody. But we can say, these are the things that are happening out there. Again, all about the Democrat shutdown, the Schumer shutdown. It's all they have anymore is to play these ridiculous games, or to, in some ways, in other ways, pay for the Antifa types out there. I mean, they know that the massive majority of the United States of America are on the side of God, family, freedom, God, family, country, and freedom, and voted for President Trump. So they're trying to do these other things, but all it takes, I'm told, is 5 Democrats to break away from the pack and vote in favor of getting this continuing resolution taken care of. And so this government can get funded and everything can get back in order. All right, so we're looking live there. We see outside the White House any minute from now. I'm assuming that we'll see the president, and then we'll see the president of Finland pull around there with the SUV, just like we have seen time and time again here at Right Side Broadcasting Network as we get ready to see the two leaders greet each other, and then they'll go into the Oval Office. If we have a live feed, and if any network has a live feed, we'll have one as well. So we'll be monitoring that as we get it. In the meantime, I believe we can keep this on a split screen double box as we look at Portland and Chicago. I know there's a recent video put out there by the White House about Chicago, about J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson. Two guys that are really on the right side of history, those guys. They really stand up for all the good things, don't they? It's ridiculous to see what's happening there, but we know that the people, that's the thing about this whole thing, is the people are, we have the numbers. And even if someone's a liberal, I mean, the people, if you're not a politician, right, you're part of that people aspect of things. People on both sides of the aisle, I'm sure in Chicago, are saying, you know what, I want the National Guard there, or I want things to happen to make things safer in this city. How about Portland, you know, with all the craziness going on there? Memphis, you know, these cities that really were in desperate need of help and are getting it. We'll see the next steps with anything in Portland, but we know in D.C. we've seen a lot of great things happen out of the nation's capital because of one decision made, the National Guard assisting with local law enforcement. Really, it's the naysayers that are out there. It's a very small minority of people that are against the goodness of what's happening in our country. Really isn't that, I don't think it's that big of a thing. I think it's the mainstream media, of course, they act like there's bazillions of people out there supporting someone like J.B. Pritzker, but Brandon Johnson's poll numbers, last time I checked a few months back, they weren't great. There were people in the city council meetings yelling at the guy because of all the people that were just moving into, do you remember at the terminal there in Chicago, they were flying in under the Biden administration. They were flying in illegal immigrants into cities like Chicago, and just where do people go? I saw it firsthand. I was flying through Chicago on the way to Iowa during the campaign trail and saw a number of people that were trying to figure out how to get into this one vehicle outside of a terminal. I saw all of that. And then I remember trying to record some of it too, going into a terminal, and somebody came over to me and said, "You're not allowed to record in here." And last time I checked, I mean, okay, if the airport says you can't record in there, that's their property. But mostly it's public, you know, it's an airport, you know, it's tax dollars, isn't it? They told me, "Oh, stop recording." It was people laying down all around the terminal, just sleeping. And that was one of the things that was happening. It was the illegal immigrants being sent there. So it's like, that's the kind of thing that people were upset at Brandon Johnson about. Anyway, so we see all this stuff going on. We know it's common sense. And that's the thing that I love about what we do here in conservative media. This is not rocket science. It doesn't need to be. It's common sense to protect our country, to protect the Constitution, to protect our family, right? So let's move on as we go to that video from Chicago where the White House posted it. We can watch that maybe on split screen here. This as we wait for President Trump and also the Finnish president, Alexander Stubb.
Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. We have a governor that refuses to admit he has problems. Everybody knows how bad it is. This open borders nightmare flooded our country with fentanyl and with people that shouldn't be here, some of the worst people on earth, and illicit drugs decimated American communities and left us with the largest law enforcement challenge in our country's history. President saying,
So the question on all of our minds now is, will it be open press or not? Meaning, will we have a live feed from the Oval Office? That's the question for any network, whether it's a Finnish network out there in Finland or here in the States. I mean, we're going to see if that live feed happens where the two will meet in front of the fireplace there, have the opening statements, and then some Q&A with the reporter. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, as we await that information and that visual, let's go to some information about today's meeting. This again from Reuters. The two leaders will sign an icebreaker pact at the White House. This is to acquire up to 11 Arctic security cutters, 4 from shipyards in Finland. The first icebreaker delivery expected by 2028. So we're told that this signing would be a pact for the United States Coast Guard to buy up to those 4 icebreaker ships from Finnish shipyards. The President of the United States and the President of Finland have established friendly ties since President Trump regained power in January. And the two met in March at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Florida and played a round of golf there. And now visiting and speaking there for Finland and the United States. So if we, again, as soon as we see a live feed, we'll take it there. In the meantime, as we stand by for that to happen, we were discussing earlier about the Middle East and the peace plan between Israel and Hamas, which was orchestrated, of course, by President Trump and others within the team there. We saw that video from just last night of the hostages' families and just the joy that they heard that the hostages will be released, according to President Trump, on Monday. We also discussed at the top of the broadcast, which started at 2:45 Eastern, about the day 9 of the Democrat shutdown. So there's a lot of people out there, everything from a military spouse, air traffic controller, a small business owner, a federal contractor, a hair salon owner, a TSA agent, a tourist. All these people are talking about ways they're being affected by this shutdown. So we're monitoring that as well. There's just a lot going on in the 24/7 news cycle. Of course, we see right there a number of military members outside of the West Wing. Let's go back to that video we started to play. This was out of Chicago, the president and the White House posting this video in regards to the ridiculousness of J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson. And if we see any live feed from the Oval Office, we'll take you right there to it. In the meantime, let's go to that video.
Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. We have a governor that refuses to admit he has problems. Everybody knows how bad it is. This open borders nightmare flooded our country with fentanyl and with people that shouldn't be here, some of the worst people on earth, and illicit drugs decimated American communities and left us with the largest law enforcement challenge in our country's history.
Presidents saying they have had enough.
We need to invite President Trump in. We invite the National Guard in. You know, we've had 254 deaths in 233 days. And for anyone in our community to say people are safe, that is an outright lie.
They need help badly. Chicago desperately needs help. We don't want to lose Chicago. We're going to lose Chicago. We want to save these places. We're going to lose it. We're not going to allow this kind of savagery to destroy our society anymore. We're stopping it one by one.
All right. 8 minutes after 3 o'clock right now on the East Coast, Thursday, October 9th, I'm seeing that President Trump will honor Dr. Ben Carson with Presidential Medal of Freedom. I'm not seeing if that's something that's happening directly today, but we do know that that is in the works there. Also, on Breaking 911 on CNN, Representative Goldman said, quote, "This president is authoritarian and he is a fascist." That's all they have as the name calling. And it's obviously not even close to true, but that's all they have. Name calling and paying for Antifa to go and do what they do and these left-wing mobs and all that. And then also, these mayors and governors like Pritzker and Brandon Johnson and Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, who just, man, somewhere along the line, they got some bad information. They got indoctrinated. Or they're actually evil people from the core. I don't know if that's the truth. I just know there's a lot of indoctrination that's happened over the years out there, and people bought into the lies. Well, thank God you're awake. I'm awake. Let's keep moving forward. Let's go now to, since we're talking about ICE and various things that are going on in various cities, let's go to where this all started, at a once wide open border. But as you're about to see in the next video, this is an update from the southern border. Our United States military, the Customs Border Patrol Protection, ICE, Homeland Security, local law enforcement, county sheriff's offices. I mean, so many people, whether it's from air, land, or sea, taking care of business there along the southern border. Let's take a look at that video. All right, so let's stick with the U.S. military. You see a Marine right there outside of the White House. You also just saw a number of various U.S. military service members at the southern border. Also, 60 young Americans said, sign me up. I am wanting to serve my country. And just recently, we saw that the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, swore in these 60 young Americans. We have that video as well. Let's take a look.
Today, you are joining the profession of arms. You are joining the armed forces of the United States of America. You are the real 1%. I look out and I see a lot of what the world would call diversity. But I don't think our diversity is our strength. I think our shared purpose is our strength. Our unity is our strength. The oath to the Constitution you're about to take as Americans together is your strength. So congratulations, Godspeed, and good luck. Thank you very much.
All right, so it's 3:12. At this hour, the meeting between the Finland president, Alexander Stubb, and our president, Donald J. Trump, is remaining closed press, meaning there is no live feed of the Oval Office meeting. Usually, I would say 70 to 80% of the time, every time a world leader shows up to the White House, we get that footage live for you. And it's not just us, it's any network. It's just a pool feed. It's either open or closed. It did list that this one was closed press. We did talk about that in the other broadcast as well. If for any reason within the next, within the hour or so, if there is a feed that we see, what we're going to do is we're going to upload that to our various social media channels. In the meantime, if you're just joining us, we just saw the president of Finland, Alexander Stubb, and our president, Donald Trump. They met each other there, they greeted each other, and then they walked into the Oval Office. So as of right now, again, what we'll do is if we see any feed that comes through, we'll be able to post that on Rumble, YouTube, all over the place, X, Truth Social. But in the meantime, thanks so much for tuning in with us. I know that you expect to see something, same thing here. I'm expecting to see inside the Oval Office, but it did say closed press today. We did talk about that in the first broadcast as well. But thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast, but also the one prior for the president's 8th cabinet meeting of his second term. Thank you again for joining us. For all of us here at Right Side, I'm Matthew Alvarez. We'll see you again soon.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
You need to start ramping this up, and this is an indication that we're going to do it, and we're going to do it together. I also think that this strengthens our bilateral relations. I know I come from a small country, but for us to be able to work together with you is extremely important from a strategic perspective as well. So we appreciate the cooperation, and we're going to deliver the first one 2028.
Good. Just a little bit before a big event.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
That's true.
That's great.
Yeah.
And actually, it's true. I came here and they were building an iceberg. They had no idea what they were doing. They had no idea how much it was going to cost. They knew nothing. And we have our Secretary of the Navy right over here, and we're working on a lot more than icebreakers. We're working on some very, very big and important ships. But no idea what they were doing. And I was with you, and I ended up meeting you and knowing you, and I heard about Finland and their icebreakers, and I said, do me a favor, would you have your people take a look at what these people are doing? And it came out that, just as I thought, they had no idea what they were doing. And we got involved, and we ended up, we need these ships very badly, because we have a lot of territory, more than anybody. And so I'm very honored to have this deal, and thank you very much. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great partnership. And it's a great honor to have you, Mr. Prime Minister. Would you like to say something, please?
First, Mr. President, thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here today. And as a Prime Minister of Finland, I want to say that this deal it's very important to Finland and our economy, because our economy is suffering a lot because of Russian aggression in Ukraine. And this deal, it means investments, it means jobs, and jobs means hope. And that's why this is so important. And I want to thank your leadership on this deal and this issue. Thank you very much.
So you've been affected very badly by the war going on, the ridiculous war going on, right?
Yes, because we have to close the border with Russia. We have 1,300 kilometers common border with them, and affects the atmosphere in Finland, in investments, and that's why we need good news. Our people need hope.
Right. So your border is closed.
It's closed.
And that's because you have so many Russians trying to get in?
Yes, they started to push illegal migrants to our border. That's why we were forced to close it.
And people also that don't want to go into the military, I guess, trying to come through. Right?
Yeah, some of them are escaping. Fortunately, on our side, we don't have that problem. In Finland,
no, you have a great military.
We have compulsory military service, and as I always say, we have 900,000 men and women who've done it, including myself and the Prime Minister. We have two.
Fighting Russia for a long time. So how many years have you been indirectly fighting Russia?
Well, put it this way, we have managed our relationship since the 1300s with about 30 skirmishes, but it's been very peaceful at our border after World War II. Yeah, but it's been peaceful at our border since the Winter War and the War of Continuation. But, I mean, a lot of it is because we actually have a very large military. It's the biggest in Europe, Turkey, Ukraine and Poland. We have over 60 F-18s. We just bought 64 F-35s. We'll roll out the first one in Texas in December. We have the biggest artillery in Europe together with Poland. And as I always say, we don't have it because we're worried about Stockholm.
Well, you really have proportionately, I think, the largest military in the world, proportionately.
It's quite big, yes, I have to admit. But, you know, we have it for defense purposes and also to build a. It's one of the reasons that our relationship is so good as well. We have the defense cooperation agreement with you. Right. We're new allies in NATO. Our defense expenditure is going north of 3%. We work very closely with you and the rest of our allies. And you know, when you push the ceiling of defense expenditure in NATO to 5%, you can imagine that a country like Finland was quite pleased with that, because that means that all of the allies have to bring up their defense. Basically increased our security just with that decision in The Hague. And I have to admit that having been to my first NATO summit in the summer of 2024, if someone would have told me that you will move from 2% to 5% after Trump enters, I would have said, go see a doctor. But you know,
well, you had to do it, and you were great about it. Spain has not been. Spain is the one that didn't do it. And so I think you people are going to have to start speaking to Spain. The only one that didn't do it, the only NATO, and you'll figure what that's all about, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll work, and I think with the leadership also, Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, I think, you know, there are a lot of commitments that have to take place, and this, of course, is going to also increase industrial defense exchanges. I think we buy 4 times more military material here from the U.S., and I think it's an essential part of our whole military setup in Europe. And it's good to be working on this together. But there's one thing that I wanted to mention also. I want to congratulate you for what we have seen in the past 24 hours in Gaza.
Thank you.
I think it's a historic deal. I went through the 20 points. It's almost like the best of record. You really see all the key elements. And if someone would have said a few weeks back that you and your team are able to push us to a position where there will be a ceasefire, an exchange of prisoners, and then a pullback, would not have believed it. But this is what diplomacy is at its best, and I think it's a potentially huge deal. So congratulations to you and your team.
Peace in the Middle East.
Peace in the Middle East, yeah.
And every country came together. Every single country came together, and people are shocked by it. But it's an amazing situation. Nobody thought it was going to happen. Thank you very much, and you've been of help too. You help always, but we are really working more closely together, having to do with Russia, Ukraine.
Yeah.
And I would have thought that would have been easier because that would be number 8 for me, number 8. And I would have thought the Russia deal maybe would have been one of the easier ones. And unfortunately, last week they had over 7,000 soldiers die unnecessarily. So it's a terrible thing, but I think we'll be getting there hopefully soon.
Yeah, and probably we'll go, or you will be going piece by piece. There are only so many agreements that you can get done, and I think this one will be the next big one. Of course, this one has to stick. I'm sure it will, because the incentives are all there, and then we'll continue to work. The last time I was here in the Oval Office was with the other European leaders in August, and I think we did a lot of good advancement there on security arrangements. I think you pushed us Europeans hard not to buy oil and gas from Russia, which I think is a very correct decision. Europe just put down its 19th sanction package. I think Russia is actually right now, both economically and militarily, not in a very strong place. And I think it's because of the commitments that we've made to Ukraine. So, day by day on this one.
Yeah, we're going to get it worked out.
Personally believe that Mr. Trump deserves to win the Nobel Peace Prize tomorrow?
Well, I think that's probably a decision that comes from the Nobel Committee. And my take is that there are 2 key pieces that have to be solved in the big picture. One is in the Middle East, and we're seeing the results of that. And then the other one is between Russia and Ukraine. And once those are solved, and I don't see any impediments to it.
Do you plan to nominate Mr. Trump next year if he doesn't win?
This year? I think probably the best nomination would be coming from Zelensky and then the King of Jordan. Those would be 2 that would come. But I think you have to, my experience with the Nobel Peace Prize comes from Martti Ahtisaari, the former president of Finland. He got it in 2008, and he got it because he negotiated 3 peace agreements on 3 different continents. Namibia in Africa, Kosovo, Serbia in Europe, and then Aceh in Indonesia. And his message was always that when you do a peace agreement, the key is that it looks like an equal match, that the big guy doesn't win over the small guy, and vice versa. But I have to say that the track record of the President of the United States in the past 7 months, 8 months is rather impressive.
Mr.
President, thank you so much, Mr. President. First of all, thank you, all of you, in behalf of the State of Israel, for everything that you're doing for my country. I want to know, how do you see the Middle East in a year from now under your leadership? And if you see maybe option for normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia?
I think it's going to be great. I think it's the hostages will be coming back Monday or Tuesday. I'll probably be there. I hope to be there, and we're planning on leaving sometime Sunday, and I look forward to it. And everybody, I see is celebrating in Israel, but they're celebrating in many other countries too. A lot of the Muslim and Arab countries, they're celebrating. Everybody's celebrating. Everybody loves the deal. So it's a great honor to have been working on it. And as you know, it's all finalized and done. We've had a lot of terrifically talented people. We've had tremendous support from UAE, Saudi Arabia. Qatar has been unbelievable. Egypt, as you know, and Jordan. Indonesia. It's... I don't want to leave anybody out. Just so many different countries. It's been incredible. Nobody's seen anything like it. So I think in a year from now, it's going to be great. I think it's going to be.
Mr. President, how do you rate your chances of winning the Nobel Peace Prize tomorrow?
Well, I don't know. Look, I made 7 deals, and now it's 8. solved the wars, one going 31 years, one going 34 years, one going 35 years, one going 10 years. I made 7 deals. This would be number 8. The one I thought that I was going to make, and I think we will probably, is because it's a ridiculous war. It's a horrible war. The worst since World War II. If you look at the people dying, is Russia, Ukraine. I think we'll do that too. We've a lot of reasons for them to do it, and I think they'll be coming to the table pretty soon. But this is the biggest of them all. This is a big one. Although I think India and Pakistan is very big. 2 nuclear nations. I did that based on trade and because of the tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, you wouldn't have been able to do it. But I said, if you guys are going to fight, I'm putting 100% tariffs on each of you. And they immediately stopped fighting. And that was going to go nuclear. You know, that was back and forth. So I know one thing. I don't know what they're going to do, really. But I know this, that nobody in history has solved 8 wars in a period of 9 months. And I've stopped 8 wars. So that's never happened before. But they'll have to do what they do. Whatever they do is fine. I know this. I didn't do it for that. I did it because I saved a lot of lives. And that's the thing that bothers me so much about the Russia-Ukraine. 7,000 people are dying a week. Young soldiers. They're almost all soldiers of Ukraine and Russia. So in theory, it doesn't affect us, no. But it's a terrible thing. And we'll get that solved, too. But nobody has ever done 8 wars. Nobody's done 8 wars in 30 years, let alone 9 months.
Are you going to step up?
Mr. President, Obama got it for way
Are
less.
you going to step up the pressure for a Ukraine deal?
Yeah, we are stepping up the pressure. We're stepping it up together. We're all stepping it up. NATO's been great. The leader of NATO, as you know, Mark, has been fantastic, I think. He's a fantastic guy. And they are stepping it up. And we're selling a lot of weapons to NATO. And that's going, I guess, to Ukraine for the most part. That's up to them. But they're buying weapons from the U.S. We make the greatest weapons in the world. You buy our planes and a lot of our equipment. And you have a big force, actually. You have a tremendous force of equipment. So I think we'll get that one done, too, yeah.
Mr. President Obama got it for way less.
Mr. President, I'm from Finland. Mr. President, I'm from Finland. Yeah. Am I okay?
He's all right.
I'm all okay. Mr. President. Yeah, President. You are buying icebreakers from Finland.
Yeah.
But what if Russia and Vladimir Putin attacks Finland? Would you defend Finland?
I would. Yes, I would. They're a member of NATO. I would. They're great people, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to do that. I think the chances of that are very, very small. But it's very interesting because you have a very big military relative to your size. You have a very powerful military, one of the best. And but certainly we will be there to help. Okay?
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Okay, please.
Mr. President, thank you. We have a big border, as our president said. How would you exactly defend Finland? And yeah, thank you.
Say what?
How would you defend Finland?
Vigorously.
Can I just add on that? We're very pleased with the fact that we have so much training going on with American soldiers right now. So they're getting experience from Arctic conditions. And we're integrating our militaries together, working not only through the DCA agreement, but other ways as well. We see that day to day in the work that we do, and it's working well.
Okay? Yes. Please.
Yeah, thank you. How do you see this? I'm from Finland too, Finnish news agency.
Very impressive.
So, Mr. President, thank you. So, how do you see the situation in the Arctic developing? Are there going to be any mutual plans for Finland and U.S. to collaborate there?
We have a lot of relationships together. I mean, mostly buying our military equipment. They buy a lot of it. They have an order, I guess, 60 planes, 64 F-35s, and many other things too. It's a big order. Big countries don't order that many planes. You know, it's
10 billion.
You have a lot of aircraft, a lot of great military. We make the best military equipment. They buy a lot from us, so it's It's very good. We're going to work together very closely with Finland and with NATO. We have a very good relationship. As you know, I requested that they pay 5%, not 2%. And most people thought that was not going to happen, and it happened virtually unanimously. We had one laggard. It was Spain. Spain. You have to call them and find why are they a laggard. And they're doing well, too. You know, the funny thing, because of a lot of the things we've done, they're doing fine. They have no excuse not to do this, but that's all right. Maybe you should throw them out of NATO, frankly.
Mr. President,
Please, go ahead.
what are you planning to do with
Tall
that?
gentleman, nice tall gentleman with the yellow shirt.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to change gears just really quickly and ask you, you're going to Walter Reed tomorrow? What are you having done, and how are you feeling?
I'm meeting with the troops, and I'm also going to do a sort of semi-annual physical, which I do. And I think I'm in great shape, but I'll let you know. But I have no difficulty thus far. Is there wood around here? I'll knock on. No difficulty. Physically, I feel very good. Mentally, I feel very good. You know, I did about 6-7 months ago. I do physicals. I like to, when I'm around, I like to check always early, always be early. It's a lesson for a lot of people. But I also did a cognitive exam, which is always very risky because if I didn't do well, you'd be the first to be blaring it. And I had a perfect score. And one of the doctors said he's almost never seen a perfect score. I had a perfect score. I got the highest score. And that made me feel good. When they asked, would I like to do one, I said, yeah. I said, did Obama do it? No. Did Bush do it? No. Did Biden do it? I definitely did. Biden wouldn't have gotten the first 3 questions right. No, Biden didn't do it. Biden should have done it. I'm actually a person that believes that if you're president, you should do a cognitive exam. But last time I took a cognitive exam, and it was a perfect score. The doctors announced it. And by the way, not the easiest test. The first few questions are pretty easy. Once you get into the middle, it gets a little trickier. And there aren't a lot of people in this room that would get every single question right, I can guarantee you.
You're putting me in a difficult spot now. Next question.
Mr. President, Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize for way less than you did, and President Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize for way less.
For doing nothing.
Exactly.
Obama got a prize. He didn't even know what he got. He got elected, and they gave it to Obama for doing absolutely nothing but destroying our country. No, he was not a good president. The worst president was Sleepy Joe Biden, but Obama was not a good president.
Are you going to do something with the
They gave him a prize. How many months after he won the election, then they gave him the Peace Prize, right?
It was right after
he was elected.
My election was a much more important election.
Now that you're fixing the situation between Hamas and Israel, are you going to be taking care of the Hezbollah or the Lebanese armed forces to take care of the Hezbollah?
Yeah, we'll be able to do that. That will be, it's a smaller part of the puzzle, but very important part. They have a great new ambassador that I appointed, Michelle. Great new ambassador. So yeah, please.
Mr. President, you are saying that the hostages will be released on Monday or Tuesday. What's your strict deadline? When do they have to get released? And how do you make sure each party abides by the deal?
Around that time, yeah. They're working on it very hard.
Tuesday after
They're in very diverse parts of the earth. Okay, they're very, very diverse. Actually, it's I think they're going to come through. I'd be surprised if they didn't. I think it'll happen.
Thank you, sir. The 19th point of the 20-point plan said in the future there could be conditions in which the Palestinians might eventually get a state. Under what conditions do you think the Palestinians could have
We'll
a
look
state
at
in
it
the
at the
future?
time. We're going to see how it all goes. And, you know, there's a point at which we may do something that would be a little bit different and may be very positive for everybody. But we'll be looking at that at the time.
Mr. President, do you
I think we'll get to that. I think we'll get to that period too. Yeah, please.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please. Glasses.
Thank you. Mr. President, the United States has previously said that that Europe would have to take more responsibility for its own security. Are you or the U.S. planning to withdraw some of the U.S. forces from the European soil?
No, but we may move some around a little bit. I'd ask you that question, Pete. Go ahead.
I think that's right, Mr. President. We're very much heartened by your leadership to get NATO to rise up to 5%, which means they can take primary responsibility for defense of the continent.
But that doesn't mean America is abandoning NATO and Europe. But we could look at where our troops are postured, what makes the most sense for America and our NATO allies.
We have a lot of troops in Europe, as you know, a lot. And we can move them around a little bit. But no, basically we'll be pretty much set. Go ahead, what's your second?
My second question would be, are you planning to impose more sanctions on Russia at this point?
I might, yeah, I might.
Mr. President, your 20-point plan says we will encourage people to stay. Can you confirm that as Gaza is rebuilt, that no one will be forced to leave?
Yeah, nobody's going to be forced to leave, no. It's just the opposite. This is a great plan. This is a great peace plan. This is a plan that was supported by everybody. I mean, as I said, they're dancing in the streets of many, many countries right now. It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it. No, we're not looking to do that at all.
And on the shutdown, Mr. President, on the shutdown. We could see a full withdrawal.
Mr. President, can you cut through politics on the shutdown? We had another failed vote today. Can you speak to our viewers from Orlando to Sacramento? What's your message to some of these families tonight facing missed paychecks, potential layoffs, and missed benefits due to the shutdown?
Yeah, I blame the Democrats. They ought to call their local Democrat representative, whether it's a senator or a congressman, and it's their fault. I mean, they admit it, it's their fault. They campaigned on the fact that they'd never shut down the country, but they want to shut it down. And, you know, we have the greatest economy. We're the hottest country in the world right now. I think you'd admit that, the hottest country. We went from a dead country a year ago to the hottest country in the world. So I think they probably don't like that. But we're doing great. I mean, we're doing great. I would say my message is call your local representative, congressman or senator, and tell them to get on the ball. The Democrats have caused this problem.
Can I ask one more Congressman?
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Where are you from?
I'm from Finland.
I love it. It's so nice. Uh-oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go with a killer question.
I would like to circle back to the icebreaker deal. So Finland and the U.S. are strengthening their economic partnership through the deal. What other areas of cooperation with Finland do you see as possible at this moment?
Good question. We're going to be talking about that in a little while. We're going into the next door room, commonly known as the cabinet room, beautiful room, and we're going to be discussing that. But we'll be doing other things. It's a wonderful country with wonderful people. We've had a long-term relationship, but it's never been as close as it is now. We'll be doing other things. Go ahead.
I mean, we've been talking about a lot with the president. I mean, the two specific fields where I think Finland has strengths. One is quantum and quantum computing, and we know that that is basically what gives food for thought for artificial intelligence. That's very important. The second one is actually networks. And you know that there are two sort of safe and trustworthy Western networks right now. One of them is Nokia. And the other one is Ericsson. And actually 70% of all broadband in the United States is Nokia. So one of the things that we could work on together is creating the 6G space through networks. And we actually, Nokia has 7,000 people working here in the United States and an American CEO.
Okay, anybody else?
What is the international stabilization force that's going to deploy to Gaza? What is that going to look like?
To be determined, really I think there's going to be a large group of people determining what it will be, and a group of people funding it that are very rich countries are going to be funding it. People want to see this work. It's going to work. It's absolutely going to work. And it starts, it's already started. We've signed, as you know. Everybody's agreed. I think Monday is going to be a very big day, Monday, Tuesday, but it's going to be, depending on where you are, it's going to be a very big day. I think it's going to be a day of great celebration. I've never seen anything like it. The streets of so many countries right now, they're just roaring with love and with praise for the people that did this. And these are countries that did this. The whole world came together for this, even Iran. And I really thank them for it. Iran came out and said this is a good thing. This is a very good thing. So it was terrific. It's been a terrific experience for me. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you, starters. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you.
Well, there you go. Live at the Oval Office, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, of course, there. Great to see the President of the United States and also the President of Finland, Alexander Stubb, as they discuss a number of topics. You heard some questions from Finnish reporters and, of course, here in the United States as well. So thank you again for streaming in live with us on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Those of you that watched the 8th cabinet meeting of President Trump's second administration on the other live broadcast, and also for those of you that are live streaming right now with us, and to those of you that watch this on replay, thank you guys for doing so. For all of us here on RSBN, I'm Matthew Alvarez. We'll see you again soon.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Tired of being told no by your doctor, your pharmacy, or worse, your insurance company? You're not alone. Millions of Americans are waking up to a broken healthcare system. That's why more and more people are turning to All Family Pharmacy. We believe in medical freedom. We deliver the prescription and the medication, all from licensed U.S. doctors and pharmacists, from ivermectin and trusted antibiotics to maintenance medications, even NAD+, the revolutionary anti-aging supplement. Use code RSBN10 at checkout for 10% off your first order.